I've had a question about making a sheet for your 3 smaller components for assignment 2. We haven't really covered this as far as I'm aware, so it was a fair enough question. So if we go new, drawing, okay. I've been here recently because this is not the first time I've had a go at doing this. So A3 ISO is the one that we need, but you could choose any one you wanted. Okay, so now we've got the drawing sheet. We don't really want to add a model view to it at this point. Just cancel that. And that draw 4 down there isn't really too useful because we're going to want to put a note in there. So we'll edit sheet format and just click on that and delete it for now. We'll come back to that later, or at least you would come back to it. I'm not going to. So then we go edit sheet and we're back with a blank A3 drawing that we can annotate as appropriate to suit the parts. So I'm going to pick some bits and pieces here that are totally random, partly because they'll need different scales and things, and that way I can show you what that should look like. So if we go to the view palette, it's not going to show us anything, so we need to hit the 3 buttons up, or the 3 dot button up there, which is the browse button, and we'll click on this one first, because it's a sort of a largish thing, and we'll have to scale it down to get it to fit. So it's going to want to project something else here, so just click that there, escape from there, and then that's projector view, so these should scale together, and we want to use a custom scale, and probably 1 to 2 will be okay. Yeah, that's all right for that. And we just position those views where we want them, and because this is a long thing, we'll leave it at the top. So if we want to put a different part on here, just go back to our drawing palette, browse again, and I'll pick this. It's quite small. It's a minute hand for a clock. Eventually it'll populate over here, I think. Or not. Or I'll pick something else. I'll pick the hour hand. I know that works. I did this recently. Okay. So we pick the front and stick that there. Clearly, that's not a scale that's going to be that useful to us. And it's not that usual that you'd be drawing things that are hugely different to each other, but it is a thing, so we need to know what to do. So we're going to use a custom scale, and this time we're going to go 5 to 1. Yeah, 5 to 1 will do. And I'm going to leave it like this. It's not really that appropriate. It would have been better if we'd actually have had, well, actually what I'll do is I'll go insert drawing view projected. That's probably more useful. And escape from there. That one there we don't really want, so we'll delete that one. Okay. We'll just place our views where we think is most appropriate. And given that these are 2 totally different things, we want to make sure that we are aware of that this isn't part of the same job, or at least it's 2 very different parts of it. So this is a handlebar riser for the bike and a new hand for the clock on the bike. So we'll do a bit of a sketch here. So just do a line, and it doesn't really matter where the line is, but we'll just make a horizontal line, and that kind of looks like an okay place to hang it onto. And now we can tick on that, and we might, given how these are much wider, we might just click out of that, click on that line, and then go down here. I've got my line types stashed down here, so we want it to be it's probably too fat now, but anyway, it kind of looks appropriate, and you can also change the color of it. So not sure what these ones here are, but okay, so that kind of looks a bit more appropriate. Now we've clearly got two panes here, which is what we're trying to achieve. And then here we'll put a note. So annotation note. Probably these notes probably should be in caps. Traditionally they would be. So we'll set the caps lock on. And okay. Now the other thing that you would want to do here is we'll carry on with what we're doing as far as putting another note in here. I might take the caps lock off, and then now the scale for that was 1:2. Fix these up in a minute. And this scale is 5:1. And that will make sense when the thing's dimensioned. And I'll just escape out of there and just shunt this over here. But now we've got two distinct parts, and we've got the different notes there. And in this case, this is a steel machined thing, and this is a injection molded plastic thing. So a lot of notes would be required, and there's not really any logic as to why these would be on one sheet. But for your assignment, all the parts make up the assembly. So all the miscellaneous bits and pieces are useful on one sheet. So that's why we're asking you to do it. And yeah, that's really just, this is just a little video to show you the process. What we would then do, and as far as the notes go, we would make some logical notes in terms of the part numbers or the drawing number, those sorts of things. So all the detail that needs to define the parts is additional. And if it's a general thing, say these were all mild steel, well then you could put the material here as mild steel. In this case, we would say various, and we would, as I said before, note the different materials as they're related to each section of the drawing. And if we had another relevant part, like, okay, so this is the minute hand, well, so the hour hand, if I could get it to work, I could shunt these over to one side and put the hour hand over here as well, and that, you know, is yet another part, and that would be a bit more logical in terms of these, you know, a pair of things that naturally go together. So anyway, that's the process, and then you just save it as your various parts sheet. I think we ask you to call it something in particular in the assessment, so just follow the instructions there. Okay, all good. Cheers.